Hello and welcome to the MAC weather page for this Monday, April 4th. And you can see temperatures this morning into the 20s across most of the area, low 30s across southeast lower Michigan as the cold air continues to pour in with the winds out of the north and northeast. Again, that's going to keep our temperatures from really going any place. I think high temperatures today will basically be in the low 30s. And I think we might see temperatures tomorrow in the upper 30s, but then we're going to watch for yet another storm that'll be heading into the Great Lakes, and that could bring some more significant snow across central and northern Michigan, maybe a mixture across south central. And I think all this precipitation as we get into tomorrow night, but by later Monday, will change over to rain, and we'll see our temperatures warm up well into the 40s before our sharp cold front comes through and brings us more cold weather right through the end of the weekend to the next weekend. Again, temperatures will run about 10 to 15 degrees below normal for the whole week. Again, so yet another delay in our warmth. Again, we don't expect this pattern to shift around until we get towards the middle of the month, around the 15th, give or take a few days. But certainly warmer air is on the way, just not anytime soon. If we look at the conditions around the Great Lakes, you can see mainly 20s across most of the lower peninsula, even some teens once you get back into the UP. And again, the lower 30s as that cold air continues to move to the south here this morning. And the temperatures down there also slipping again over the next couple of hours. Band of freezing rain with some thunderstorms here across mid-Michigan created about a tenth or tenth and a half inch of ice on many of the surfaces overnight. And we had freezing drizzle this morning off and on across much of the area as well. So do be careful as you're driving out there, especially on bridges and overpasses. If we take a look at the normals, our normal high is still 49, normal low is 29. We're going to really warm these up over the next 2 weeks, and by the end of the month, our normal highs will be well into the 60s with normal lows in the low 40s. So we do warm up a lot in April, so things will be changing regardless. Just, I think we're going to wait until about the middle of the month, and I think we see a pattern shift where that trough becomes moving to the northwest into Canada, and we begin to build a pretty good southeastern ridge. That'll create a pretty active wet period again, but then I think after that we're going to start to dry out as we get towards May, and we're going to really heat things up, I believe. If we look at the next slide, you can see on Saturday morning pancake breakfast down there for the Jasper and Blissfield Appreciation Breakfast Day. Sounds like pretty good food there. That's the one I missed out on. If we look at this morning's webcam, this one from Cadillac, from TV 9 and 10, Northern Michigan's news leader, and you can see in the area of Cadillac, you got some clearing skies off here. You got some frost or ice from the freezing rain they got there, and you can see on the sidewalks there, they certainly got some snow here over the last 24 to 480 hours. If we look at the next slide, you can see out in Marlette, you can see a lot of the moisture frozen to the window there. As again, most of the area picked up a period of freezing rain or freezing drizzle here last night and this morning. If we look at the radar, you can see the remnants of what the storm that came through here now sliding out of the area. And again, looks like we'll be pretty dry until we get into tomorrow evening when our next storm system will approach. And if we take a look at the weather map this morning, you can see the low that came through the area now well off to the east, cold front well to our south. And again, just some very scattered. This looks a little overdone. Maybe a few scattered snow showers or some freezing drizzle this morning, but that should end as the cooler and drier air from this high pressure system moves down overhead as we get into tonight. And by tomorrow morning, you can see that high pressure will be dominating the area, at least for the morning, but it'll slide off to the east, and we'll have a storm system that'll be moving towards the Great Lakes, the southern Michigan area. And again, as we get into Tuesday night, you can see it'll spread snow across the area. Some of this could be heavy across central and northern Michigan, so we're going to have to watch this. Some of the models are pretty aggressive on the snow, but again, much like these last couple of systems, it's going to really depend on where you're at. We'll go from a lot of rain to perhaps a mixture and then some heavier snow. Right now, the best bet looks from around Muskegon to Saginaw north for the heaviest snow, but I think there'll be accumulating snows probably once you get past I-96 off to the north. And if we look at the quantitative precipitation here over the next 5 days, you can see a pretty good amount of precipitation. Most of the MAC and LAC areas pick up about a ½ inch to an inch. And again, some local areas even up to around an inch, inch and a half possible. So it'll be a pretty wet storm Tuesday night into Wednesday. And as far as some of the snowfall amounts, the GFS really hammers much of the mid-Michigan area, 6 to 10 inches, even a foot in Mount Pleasant. Again, some of this, though, these are at 10 to 1 snowfall ratios. but I think we're going to be looking at more like 7, 6, 7, 8 to 1 ratios. Could be some sleet. So some of these numbers may be a little bit too high. I think I think once you get north of M46, I think there's a chance of 4 or more inches. Again, we'll just continue to watch models. The European also would agree with that same area of heavy snow. Now, the Canadian farther north has most of the heaviest snow once you get up towards the Clare Harrison area off to the north, especially across areas like Gaylord, Grayling, and Houghton Lake, over towards Tawas, South Dakota, Alpena, back to Traverse City, Manistee. Again, looks like they would be under the gun on the Canadian model, but still accumulating snows even as far south as you get down towards Flint and St. John's area. Again, could be several inches of snow even on the Canadian model. And as far as the WPC, they also depicting heavier snows. Again, basically Saginaw to Muskegon off to the north, but still even there, accumulating snows predicted for areas around I-96 off to the north. Bottom line is we're going to be cold this week, 10 to 15 degrees below normal. And again, another chance of a pretty wet or white system coming up for the area. And as far as the 8 to 14 day outlook, now as we get towards the end of this, we're going to be able to see a pattern shift. And I think we're going to start to see this big trough begin to back to the northwest. We're going to see a ridge begin to develop. So here in a few days, when we look at this 8 to 14 day outlook, we should start to see maybe some above normal temperatures increasing from the southeast to the northwest across the lower 48. As far as precipitation, this is also a good indicator of a pattern change that's coming. We're going to see an active jet as this trough digs out to the northwest. We're going to see systems coming underneath, and we're going to eventually see them pulling to the northwest, keeping much of the nation pretty wet, but being able to draw up some warmer air into the Great Lakes here. But again, we're still out there about the 15th before I think we see that happen. Thanks for stopping by, and have a great day, a great work week, and 73s to all.